Anthropic just released Claude Opus 4.7, and it kind of broke a lot of what I do with Claude Code, Claude Cowork, and just a lot of my workflows in my business. And the same may have happened for you. And I spent the last day and a half really digging into what's different about Opus 4.7, how it's different than our beloved 4.6 and even Sonnet, and how we can adapt certain things to use 4.7 better, really like it's designed to be, and if we need to use a different model for certain things in our businesses. In this video, I'm going to share 5 major things I learned about Opus 4.7 in really testing it very hard the last few days, where it really succeeds and you should lean into it, and where you need to change things a little bit from how we're used to doing things in Opus 4.6. And so at a real high level, benchmarking, not surprisingly, blows all the other models out of the water and even gets up to the level of Mythos Preview here, which is the model that's too good to be released by Anthropic. So it's a better model by all accounts. But to me, it really falls down in a couple of very important areas. And to me, the first one is it's very literal. And this is probably the biggest gap for me. A lot of the work that I do with Claude Code is knowledge work, analyzing marketing funnels, running financial reports, creating content for this YouTube channel, drafting proposals for clients, things like that. And a lot of the work I would do with Claude Code in 4.6 was, hey, I have this idea, help me think through this thing. And it did a really great job of taking unstructured ideas I had, filling in the blanks a little bit, and giving me a really great result out the end. And what I find with 4.7 is I give it that same, hey, here's some data, here's kind of what I'm thinking, help me navigate this, which probably is how you use a lot of AI too, unless you're a developer. And it just doesn't fill in those blanks. It's very deterministic. It's very explicit in how it wants to work, which is one of the huge benefits in kind of how it's designed for long-running agentic development tasks. But for knowledge work, if you're not very explicit about what you want to do, what the job to be done is, what the example of good is, you're going to find it lacking a lot. And so the takeaway here for, I think, knowledge work is with 4.6, you could be vague and it would work really well. With 4.7, if you're ambiguous or vague at all, it's going to fall over big time. Okay, the next one is a lot of folks I'm seeing in kind of private Slack channels I'm in and on Twitter are saying like, oh my gosh, I blew through my quota in a morning. I've never done that before. I'm on the $200 a month plan and I blew through my quota. And it is because the new default in Opus 4.7 is extra high effort. So it's spending a lot of tokens all at once. I find it thinking a lot, going back and forth kind of with itself. And this just lends to spending a lot of tokens. I do kind of trust Anthropic that extra high is the effort that Opus 4.7 needs for a lot of these long-running agentic development tasks, but maybe for some of our knowledge work, it's not what we need. Back to ambiguity here, because I think this all ties it together. The more explicit you are, the fewer tokens it's going to use. And some of the benchmarking by Anthropic actually says that Opus 4.7, like every new release of an Opus model, may use maybe more expensive per token, but will use fewer tokens if you prompt it and kind of orient it correctly. So the TLDR here for me is it's going to think harder, it's going to use more tokens, but if I give it better inputs and constraints and vision, then it will do a better job. And speaking of images, I find it analyzes images much better and faster and creates really great looking presentations. So if you're not creating presentations with Claude Code yet, I would definitely check it out. It's like one of the huge unlocks. So you can just talk to Claude Code. It creates a web page and then breaks those into PDFs as a presentation. I did this recently at a conference and it was a huge win. Back to kind of token and cost management. Previously with Opus 4.6, you could set a cap for certain tasks and how long you wanted it to think and what kind of thinking budget could be. This is really great, especially if you're setting up an agent or recurring events to happen in your business, or maybe you have kind of workflows where you want it to go do a thing and come back, even if it maybe isn't done, just because you want to control cost. If you're using Opus in a product, you would do something like this. With 4.7, the concept of kind of a thinking cap or a token cap on a task is gone and everything is adaptive. So adaptive thinking is the new norm here. And so kind of back to that central theme is we need to be really explicit with maybe some of the context and data, and maybe we're getting back to prompt engineering with Opus 4.7 to give it exactly what it should do. And if we do, I trust, again, the model that it's going to do a really great job. And in things that are more deterministic, like programming, it's winning big time here. So one of the big unlocks for me in the development work that I do, and really even like code security scans and evaluations, is spawning sub-agents. I'm redesigning our whole Castos website right now. We're building it in Astro, and I'm using sub-agents heavily there using the Superpowers plugin. If you haven't checked out Superpowers, it's fantastic. I'm going to do a whole review here on the channel here shortly about it. But what it does really well is once you have a plan or kind of a set of tasks that you want to do, 4.6 would say, cool, I know intuitively that I can delegate all these to sub-agents. And it would just do it automatically. You don't have to ask it to. 4.7 now says, hey, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and it's going to do it sequentially. So it takes a little bit longer. I find we have context window bloat because of this, like a single running thread in Claude Code will really consume a lot of context window very fast, whereas sub-agents all have fresh context windows. So I think this is some of the kind of science behind why folks are seeing worse results from 4.7 is they're getting further into that context window, and we know the further we get, the worse a model performs. If you're at 30% of context window remaining, you're just not going to get a good result, as opposed to if you have this high-level plan and then you break it out into 4 or 5 or 10 sub-agents, each of those sub-agents gets a fresh context window when it starts up. And so this is where you get like really fast, but also really good results. You can explicitly prompt 4.7 to span parallel sub-agents, but it doesn't do it automatically. I think for a lot of us, the answer to everything, like the hammer to every nail, was Opus. Opus 4.6, Opus 4 before that was the best model for everything. And I do believe that. I think Opus 4.6 is an amazing model, and you're seeing it in the OpenClaw scene. You know, when Anthropic pulled the plug on using subscriptions in OpenClaw, a lot of people said, like, OpenClaw just isn't usable anymore without Opus 4.6 if I have to pay API rates instead of using my Pro Max 20 subscription. And I think a bit of this is happening for me now, again, in knowledge work that I do with Claude Code and Claude Cowork. No longer is Opus or Opus 4.7 especially the answer to everything. Here's how I'm thinking about using the 3 different models really in my work, and I'll talk about how I'm using Codex as well. So for coding or running agents or running Ralph loops or something like that, Opus 4.7 is absolutely the best coding model out there. You have to be very explicit, very structured, and very thorough with how you're prompting it. And so maybe some of the things like Ralph loops, like I did a video on my whole kind of grill me and Ralph loop process before, maybe some of that needs to be evolved to meet the new best model. And I do believe it is the best model, but the way I used the old model may not be right for this new model. The other big change is I'm using Sonnet a lot. I use Sonnet in Claude Cowork, and if you're into Cowork and you're finding more and more use cases for it, make sure you subscribe. I have a huge video coming out all about how I'm using Cowork and how it's replacing a lot of what I might have done with both Hermes and OpenClaw. So make sure you subscribe to get that video. I find Sonnet to be the best at writing. So if all I need to do is repurpose YouTube video into email newsletter or a blog post or a social post, Sonnet is fantastic at this, and you're just not using as many tokens. It also just gives a better result. So Sonnet 4.6, still the best tool for writing, and I'm using it more and more. And then when I want to do this kind of deep dive exploration on a topic, I am reverting to Opus 4.6, and I want to keep using it because it is the best when I need a lot of kind of AI horsepower, but I don't want to be explicit. A lot of what I do with AI is just, hey, I'm thinking about this thing, help me kind of shape this idea. And Opus 4.6 was the best thought partner for me and how I'm still using it a fair amount, if I'm honest. You know, I mentioned Codex and kind of how I'm using Codex. I'm going to do a whole video on using Opus and Opus 4.6 or 4.7 and Codex for the same project. But the short version is I'm still coming up with a plan in Opus. I'm using Codex to review that plan. I'm writing the code with Opus in my Ralph loop setup, and then I'm having Codex review that. And you can do all of this in Claude Code. There's a plugin for Claude Code to run Codex right in Claude Code. It's really amazing. And these two models and model frameworks and harnesses are really different in a good way. It's like having a coworker or a partner who is complementary but different to you in a healthy way. I find it really nice. Shout out to the team at Every. If you don't subscribe to their newsletter at every.to, you definitely have to. And they pulled this one from a financial analysis they did where previously Opus 4.6 kind of caught an error really in their P&L. By the way, if you haven't uploaded your P&L, your profit and loss statement, your balance sheet and stuff for your business to Claude Code, like do it. It's really amazing. It will tell you things that you probably need to hear. And so they did this, and it highlighted something without being asked, like, hey, this is back to the kind of filling in the blanks and inferring things, part of the difference between two models. Opus 4.6 kind of said, hey, what about this? This is wrong. I think this is miscategorized or something. And they did the same with Opus 4.7, and it just like, hey, yeah, everything's good, right? It's the hallucination kind of thing that we all see with AI models sometimes. So I haven't experienced this one firsthand, but I was reading what the Every team, because I really trust them, what the Every team thought of the two models. And I thought this was a big one to flag because we are more and more relying on AI to, I'll say, do a lot of the thinking for us. And if hallucinations are creeping up with newer models, we really need to be aware of it and change how we're prompting or reviewing the work that it's doing. Okay, so as you're looking to move to Opus 4.7, because I do believe 4.6 will go away, that's how Anthropic usually does it. I think we have a few months to use 4.6 still. You'll need to make sure you're adapting your workflows and your prompting and just how you're using Claude Code or Cowork for the new reality of 4.7. And so the 5 points are: make sure you're being very explicit and defining the job to be done for the task that you're giving to 4.7. Number 2 is give it what success looks like. I like giving it concrete examples of previous work that I've done, maybe with it, as a reference. Number 3 is kind of negative examples or constraints, like, hey, don't do this, never do this, don't use M dash, right? If we can ever get a model to do that, tell it what not to do in addition to kind of what good looks like. If you're running agents, be a little more explicit with process and thought constraints in terms of cost and tokens. Otherwise, it will just kind of run free and use its adaptive thinking kind of all at once. And if you're using Opus 4.7 via API, remove temperature, top P, and top K to make sure that it works properly. And if you follow this checklist, I think you'll lean into the benefits of Opus 4.7 and not be kind of harmed by some of the taxes of what is a little more rigid, structured LLM that arguably by all the benchmarks is like way better and even getting up to the kind of elite mythos level that Anthropic is touting. I love when these new models come out because it forces us to rethink kind of things we're taking for granted with the current model and then what the new reality and potential is with this more powerful model, even if it's a little different than how we've done things before.